So this video is going to be about figures that were made in Taiwan. There were 16 figures that have Taiwan country of origin stamps on the back, and this is it. They only appeared, Taiwan only made figures for the Star Wars era and the Return of the Jedi era. So any figures that premiered on Empire Strikes Back cards or Power of the Force cards, you're not going to find any made in Taiwan there. The factory was called Universal Manufacturers, and nobody's 100% sure if it was Universal that made the figures for both eras. But for whatever reason, they had figures made in Taiwan from 77 to 79, and then again 83, 84. So this is going to be a video about the figures made in Taiwan. Every figure that was made there, the accessories were made there too. So some of my figures have factory correct accessories. Leia Boushh does, Luke Skywalker, and some of them I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jedi Luke has the exact Taiwan accessories or not. Darth Vader is all right there, so is Boba Fett. So we'll go into that too, and how some of the accessories are different. But these are the figures made in Taiwan by Universal Manufacturers during the Star Wars era, and then again during the Return of the Jedi era. So Farm Boy Luke, officially known just as Luke Skywalker, one of my favorite figures to collect, and I have 3 examples here. The one on the left is Cater Factory in Hong Kong, and then I pulled out 2 Taiwan figures. Just wanted to show the difference in, even just in Taiwan, the different pants colors, different than the Cater one, different paint for the face, as is the Cater. Some of the Caters are actually a brown paint. And so most of the Taiwans, though, is if you look at the eyes, they just have more of a straight line for the eyes than some of the others. So I can usually, just by looking at the eyes, spot a Taiwan right away. And I'll turn them around. So the Cater country of origin stamp, as you can see, is always 3 lines, and then the 2 Taiwans. So that's Luke Skywalker. I have several different Taiwans. I think I have like 9 different Taiwan Lukes, and you can find subtle or big differences in most of them. So very cool figure, and that is Luke Skywalker Taiwan. Spin him around again. And let's move on to the next one. All right, next is Princess Leia Boushh disguise. Is it Boushh or Boushh? I'm not sure. I think it's Boushh. Anyway, big differences between Hong Kong and Taiwan. On the left, you have the Hong Kong. On the right is the Taiwan. You can see different plastics used for the face. A little bit different. I'll get a little bit closer for the hair, but the hair is a little bit different shade of brown. Big difference between the brown here on the body and the brown here. Same with the legs. And turn it to the side. You can see the difference in the sleeves here. It's really cool. Bring it up a little bit there. There we go. So big differences in the color. Look at the hair. And just different paint, different plastic. And let's go look at the back here. And you can see the country of origin. And you can see the Taiwan on the right, and on the left, the Hong Kong. So that's Princess Leia. Oh, and then you got their helmets too, and you can see the Hong Kong, much lighter yellow than the Taiwan. So very different. That's why collectors like getting both, because us completists, if we see that there's a different variant of that figure, we want them both. So that's Princess Leia Boushh disguise. So we'll take a look at Chewbacca next, and right off the bat you can see the difference in the brown plastic. The one on the left is Hong Kong, the one on the right is Taiwan. Hong Kong has bigger eyes painted in there. There we go. Taiwan, a little bit smaller blue part. Very different shades of brown plastic though. Turn them around for you. So some of these, it's interesting that Taiwan only made figures for some for the Star Wars era and some for the Return of the Jedi era. Nothing for Empire Strikes Back or Power of the Force. So I'm not sure why, but they make some really cool variations here. And we're taking a look at Chewbacca. Okay, we'll take a look at General Madine. Some subtle differences in the brown belts and the blue plastics, the brown paint on the emblem too. The biggest difference with him is the head sculpt. So here you have the Hong Kong version on the left, and on the right is the Taiwan. The Hong Kong, what you're looking at on the head, is the paint is the face. So the hair is molded, which means that's the actual color of the plastic, and then they painted the face on. The Taiwan is different. That's the opposite, where the face is actually molded and then the hair is painted on. So that's the biggest difference with these. Another difference is where the country of origin stamp is placed. Here's the Taiwan and then the Hong Kong down here. So, and very different color hair as well for the gray. Taiwan being a lot darker. So that's General Madine. It's a pretty cool variant. There's a couple of Taiwans where the head and hair are molded and painted opposite of Hong Kong, and General Madine is one of them. So let's go ahead and move on. All right, let's take a look at Reuse. And this one you can see right away. If you just start down at the boots, you have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right, and you look down at the boots, and the Hong Kong, a little bit lighter boots, different color plastic for the bodysuit, different color paint for the hands, different color plastic for the heads, even the chest is different. So very different from each other. And this is another one where you can spot the Taiwan right away once you know what you're looking for. Here's the back. And the Hong Kong COO and date stamp, and there's the Taiwan. But you can even see the color differences even better from back here. The Taiwan bodysuit has a little bit more of a red tint to it, and just very cool differences. So again, that's why as collectors we want both, because they look so different from each other. And then you throw the Lily Letty from Mexico, and that one looks even different from these. So that's the Taiwan Reuse. All right, Emperor's Royal Guard, pretty big difference here. You have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. The Taiwan is the one from my childhood. And, you know, I hate these cloth capes with these figures. They're a pain. They block everything behind them in the display. And even for making videos, it's just, there's too much cloth to take off on him. But he's Hong Kong. And there's where his country of origin stamp is. The plastic for the arms and legs is a little bit different too, but you can't really see it. But the capes are definitely different color red, and so are the helmets. So he's a cool figure, but again, the cloth capes just kind of ruin it for me. You can't even see the figure under there, especially the ones with hoods. But anyway, that's the Emperor's Royal Guard, and very big differences between the Taiwan and the Hong Kong. So ATST driver, you have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. And you can see the face plastic is different. Hong Kong's a little bit darker than the Taiwan, but not major differences. The helmet on the Hong Kong and the body plastic, a little bit different shade of gray than the Taiwan, but nothing real drastic with him. Just a little bit different shade of color on the plastic, as you can see here. So not as big of a difference with him, but you can still tell. But that's the ATST driver. Came out on a Return of the Jedi card back. All right, Princess Leia. Look at the difference in the faces there. You have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. And just like with Luke, you know, they tend to use more of a straight line for the eye paint and the eyebrow paint than the other factories did. But a little bit different plastic too. Belt painted a little bit differently. And very cool though, the difference in the face between the Hong Kong and the Taiwan. So universal manufacturers, they just did things a little bit differently. Turn it around. Again, the cape is kind of in the way, but capes are a little bit different too. And the weapon can be too with all of these figures. You know, every figure that was made in Taiwan is going to have a weapon that was made in Taiwan too. So if you're looking to match your factory weapons and figures, variantvillain.com is a good source for that. But that's your Taiwan Princess Leia. All right, next we'll take a look at R2-D2, Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. You can see the Hong Kong has a darker blue for the eye, Taiwan a little bit lighter, a little bit of more of a greenish tint to it. Different paint for the red eye there. Different sticker. Taiwan has darker paint. That Taiwan is actually from my childhood, and as you can see, at some point I got it wet. So sorry I don't have a nicer condition figure, but it's a classic. I've had it since I was a kid. But you can see the difference in the paint, or I'm sorry, not the paint, but in the ink on the sticker. Turn it around for you. R2-D2, it's not necessary to keep him on a stand. He stands up just fine, but it keeps him in proportion with the rest of the figures. But then again, you can see the difference in the paint on the dome and the ink on the paper. And take a look at the paint on the sides. Hong Kong a little bit darker than Taiwan. So again, some pretty interesting differences in the sloppy R2-D2 from my childhood. Okay, here's Biker Scout, Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. The Taiwan is from my childhood. And I can tell you, as a kid, I remember that little dot in his mouthpiece not being painted. So as far back as I can remember, it was like that, but the Hong Kong one is. And just different, you know, smaller eye paint for the goggles here. Hong Kong much bigger, more paint there. So just paint applications are a little bit different plastic too. Definitely in the face you can tell a difference, and I'll turn these around. And you can get a look at the country of origin stamps. And the back, slightly different sculpts on these, but nothing major. But the helmets are a little bit different from each other. So that's Biker Scout. He was always one of my favorites when I was a kid. I remember when he came out. So Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. All right, Bib Fortuna, we have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. The biggest difference with him really is just the color of the plastic for his head, and the face paint is definitely different. You know, the Hong Kong eyes look totally different. Mouth is painted differently. Don't see any major differences with his robe. They're both pretty close in color, but nothing major with him other than just the face paint really. But that is the Hong Kong versus Taiwan Bib Fortuna. Really cool looking figure they made. And here's Admiral Ackbar, Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right. You can see a difference there. Check out the eyes. You can see the Hong Kong, very different from the Taiwan. And the paint on the body, which is the vest part in the middle, that's painted, and they're painted different colors. Plastics don't look terribly different, just a little bit, but probably the eye paint, and you got the yellow right there on the sides. It's kind of hard to tell there, but the Hong Kong is probably a little bit darker. Nothing major though. His eyes are probably the biggest difference. So that's Admiral Ackbar, and let's move along. Okay, Wicket is another very cool figure. You have Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right, and you can see a little bit difference. Hong Kong has darker eye, face paint and darker brown plastic. The body paint is slightly darker on Taiwan, and the ones on the Hong Kong, you can look at the legs, and the Hong Kongs tend to discolor a lot more than the Taiwan does. I'll turn it around for you here. And also the Wickets don't actually say Hong Kong on them. They just have no COO, or there you see the Taiwan. Different colors though. And then the two hoods are different too. The Hong Kong is a darker plastic on the hood. So that's Wicket. He's one of my favorites. There aren't a ton of variants on him. There's these two, and then there's the Lily Letty Mexican version, which has a more gray face paint even than the Taiwan. So that's Wicket, and let's go ahead and move on. All right, so Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight outfit. Hong Kong on the left, Taiwan on the right, and If you look at the head sculpts, you can see the Hong Kong has molded hair and a painted face. And then you come over to the Taiwan and it's molded face and painted hair. And then even just the paint applications on the faces are a little bit different too. And if you look at the capes, you can see on the Hong Kong right here, it's a snap cape, and this one is sewed shut. A little bit different looking too. But as far as the weapons, those are going to be specific to the factory too. And I don't know for sure if I have the right Taiwan items or not on there. They're genuine Kenner, but I don't know if they're Hong Kong or Taiwan, to be honest. But there you get a look at the COs. But this Luke, the head differences is really cool. And you can see the hair, different colors, faces, different colors. So that's Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. All right, so Darth Vader is a good one for variants for Taiwan because there's different country of origin stamps for him. So I pulled out a Hong Kong. The one on the left is Hong Kong. The second one says made in Taiwan. And the third and fourth ones just say Taiwan. So the general consensus is the ones that just say Taiwan were produced for Toll Toys, who was the company who had the license to produce the figures for Australia and New Zealand. And the made in Taiwan ones were released in the United States. But what you see here is, I'm going to get a little closer. Now on the Hong Kong, if you can see on the cheek, it's very straight. And then on the right cheek here, it's a little bulbous on these two. And then this one is really pronounced. And the two that are just say Taiwan, you can see they're very different sculpts. The one on the right is very crude. Has that bulbous cheek, a rougher looking plastic, and even down here on the hilt for the lightsaber, there's extra plastic got poured down here, so there's a factory error. So they really weren't as interested in quality control on that one on the right. The one on the left here, the mold looks a lot closer to the one that says made in Taiwan. So the general consensus is the ones that just say Taiwan are for Toll Toys in Australia, New Zealand. The rest of them are made for the rest of the world, mostly the United States. But with the Darth Vader, like I said, it's up for debate. But anyway, that's Darth Vader, and two different versions of a Taiwan Darth Vader. Very cool figure. Incidentally, the ones that just say Taiwan, very hard to find. And when you do, you're going to pay up for them. The ones that say made in Taiwan, they're not expensive. You can get those on eBay anytime. But the ones that just say Taiwan, very hard to come by. Not many of them were made. But one thing you can do if you're looking for one online, and sometimes the seller may not specify, you can always look. That's a Hong Kong cheek. And that right cheek is very, very triangular. On the Taiwans, it's a little more bulbous. Let's get out into the light a little bit more. So a little more bulbous right there compared to the Kenner, or to the Hong Kong, which doesn't have that. And then if you see this, where it looks like he's got a tumor growing out of there, then you know you got one. So always look for that bulbous right cheek if you're looking for Taiwan. But the ones that just say Taiwan, go for a premium. So that's Taiwan Darth Vader. All right, last but certainly not least is Boba Fett. All the way to the left is a Hong Kong, more of a brown belt. And then the rest are all Taiwan. And there's a few different variations on the Taiwan. The first one over here is a pretty standard one, mostly blackish belt. You can get anything with the green paint for the chest. You can see these all have different shades of green paint. Up here on the helmet, you can see these first two are just regular helmets. This one I brought in because of the way it discolored. They usually don't discolor like that, the Taiwans, with more fluorescent paint on the pads and that, but this one got some cool discoloration in the face and throughout the whole body, so I put it in here. Not common. But these last two, if you can look at the top of the helmets here, they're both painted with blue paint, and that was at the factory. It is a well-known variant, the blue painted helmet Boba Fett, made in Taiwan. Nobody's 100% sure why they painted them. Some people think maybe there was a little overspray from this part that they were trying to cover up. I don't know. But it made for an awesome variant. An expensive one too. They sell for a premium. In general, a regular Taiwan Boba like that one will usually sell for a little bit more than the Hong Kong counterpart. But when you get with the ones with the blue painted helmet, they can get really expensive. Another interesting note about Taiwan Boba Fett's is the gun. And this particular gun is the Taiwan gun. You can tell there are subtle differences. If you look at variantvillain.com, you can see the differences between the Hong Kong guns and the Taiwans. So I have like 13 Taiwan Boba Fett's, and I only have one Taiwan gun. The gun usually sells for $125, $150. It's not easy to find, and it's subtle differences. But if you look at Variant Villain, you'll see the differences. But Taiwan Boba Fett is, I think, the coolest figure that Taiwan made, especially the one with the painted helmet. And he just looks cool compared to the Hong Kongs with that black belt and all. So yeah, but you'll get a lot of different colors with the green paint on the chest. There is Taiwan that's got more of a brown belt. You can see the different variations in some of the yellow paint too. So that's the Taiwan Boba Fett. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. This was fun to do. If you liked it, please go ahead and hit subscribe and check out some of my other videos. And hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll be making some more soon. Thanks a lot.